So where shall we start with that performance? Let's start with the usual, shall we? Southgate out, Steve Holland out. I don't care that they've won that game 3-0. That performance is unacceptable for a calibre of side like England. And the most frustrating part, whatever I say throughout the rest of this video, the most frustrating part of that performance and that result is that their plan has been executed to the standard that they'll be happy with because we've won 3-0. Let's not get it twisted. A, Bosnia didn't qualify for the Euros. B, that was their first game with a new manager in charge. And C, it was a ragtag Bosnia team stuck together with super glue because all of their top calibre players all retired from the international team because they didn't qualify for the Euros. 3-0 is the bare minimum result for England. We should be beating Bosnia 4 or 5-0 easily, if not more, with the starting lineup that we put out. However, let's have a look at the starting lineup that he put out and recognise what a ridiculously stupid starting lineup it was and how limited they were due to the instructions that they were given. We were playing Eza on the left. He's not a left winger. He's an attacking midfielder. He plays off the left for Crystal Palace, but not left, out and out left wing. He plays off left centre. Behind him, he had Kieran Trippier. So on the left-hand side of the pitch, you had your left winger playing inside and your left back playing inside. So there was nothing on the left-hand side of the pitch. Let's see, if only there was a left back who was left-footed that already has a relationship with Eberechi Eze because he plays with them every week for Crystal Palace. No, I can't think of one personally, but if only there was one of them available, then maybe they could have played at left back and provided width on the other side. Then on the right-hand side, you had Jared Bowen coming inside on his left foot, and Ezri Konsa, a right back who doesn't overlap, not getting forward enough because he doesn't overlap. So on the right-hand side, there was nothing on the it because everyone was coming inside. Then you had Trent and Conor Gallagher sitting in midfield with no licence to move whatsoever. They were just static. It was so obvious that Gallagher was playing left centre mid and Trent was playing right centre mid. And then you just sort of had Cole Palmer with barely any room to breathe because Bowen was tucking in on top of him, Eze was tucking in on top of him, and then Trent and Gallagher were just forming a box around him. So then Palmer couldn't get on the ball, and then to top it all off, you're playing against a team that's playing 5 at the back and 4 in midfield, and you put Ollie Watkins up front. The guy who runs in behind. His whole game is to create space by running in behind, and then either getting on the end of it and scoring goals, or feeding the runners coming off of him. What did you expect from him in this game? He had 3 centre-backs to deal with. That's not his game. Play Ivan Toney. If Kane's fit enough for the bench, play Harry Kane. What was the point in playing Ollie Watkins? Absolute joke. It was no wonder to me that that was 0-0 at half-time. The only reason we went ahead in that game is because we got a penalty. It's as simple as that. The only reason we went ahead in that game is because we got a penalty. And that's why they're going to be so happy with the performance. It pissed me off to no end when the last thing they said before the start of the second half is that Kieran Trippier's message to the players when they walked out was patience. What we needed was urgency, not patience. All we did in the first half was patience. Pass, 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 pass. Eze had one good run. One. He had one good run. He looked dangerous, but he only actually beat players once. Palmer, Bowen, Eze, restricted in their movement, restricted in their fluidity. And it was just pass, 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 pass. Play for the moments. Wait for the opposition to make a mistake. 4 set pieces, because we're good at set pieces. You can guarantee Southgate will say that in his press conference. We played for set pieces because we know how good we are at set pieces. Lo and behold, we got a penalty from a set piece because one of the Bosnian defenders was an idiot and yanked down Konsa in the box. It's definitely a penalty. Okay, I'm not going to go, it's not a penalty. Of course it's a penalty. And Palmer, by the way, lucky boy. Why the goalkeeper decides to try and save it by punching it upwards rather than, just sticking his hand out and saving it, I don't know. But fair play to Palmer. First proper England start. Gets himself a goal from the penalty spot. Congratulations to him. At least we got better when the changes were made. Because what happened is it allowed us to get that little bit more fluidity. And a special mention has to go to Adam Wharton. Because the moment he stepped onto the pitch, we created more opportunities. because he was so much more ready to get on the ball than Conor Gallagher was. I'm not going to say Conor Gallagher had a bad game. He obviously played the full 90 minutes and he put himself about as and where he could. But when Trent was on the right-hand side, he was very restricted in how he could move because he couldn't drift around like he normally does. When Wharton came onto the pitch, he did drift around. He was looking at the pockets. He was dropping in, getting on the ball, creating space for others. What it also meant is that when Trent got moved to right back, he then got that freedom of that right-hand side. So when Bowen started tucking in, Trent could make more moves in behind round the outside. Kane was dropping in to support because Watkins can't do that because that's not his game. So Kane was dropping in. Little bits of space were opening up. And this is where I said Wharton was so good because he was the one that was then dictating those plays. He was getting on the ball, feeding it out to Trent, feeding it out to Grealish, linking up with Kane in midfield, using Maddison to bounce off of. That wasn't happening in the first half, and Wharton deserves massive credit for that. So fair play to him for that. But what I will say, my player of the match was actually Jarrod Bowen. And I don't think anyone's really picked up on his performance. And I don't quite understand why, but they don't really talk about it on commentary. For me, he was the only one that never really stopped running the entire match. I spoke about it in regards to the fact that he wasn't allowed to be as creative as he would have liked, but it didn't stop him putting the effort in. He was the first to trigger the press on most occasions, and half of the time he was the one winning it back. And every time you got the ball out to him, he looked like a genuine threat. Certainly more of a threat than what Palmer did. And all of our chances in that first half, and certainly vast majority of our chances in the second half, were either started or involved Jarrod Bowen getting the ball in that right-hand side, driving into the middle, and either playing passes across or allowing Trent to go around the outside of him, or by feeding the ball down the middle. I thought Jarrod Bowen had a very, very good game and was obviously robbed of getting himself a goal by whoever it was. I think it was Konsa again, blocking his shot that was going in the bottom corner. Thankfully, it then dropped to Kane and put the ball in the back of the net. But I was really impressed with Jarrod Bowen. He was my player of the match, so I'll give him some credit. But overall, like I said, we win 3-0. So he's going to stand there in his press conference and say, absolutely delighted with the performance. Well done to Cole Palmer for getting his goal on his debut. Wasn't it good how we were able to bring in all these players? Didn't Eze look good? Wasn't Trippier good as captain in front of his home fans? And all this, that and the other. And ultimately, he gets away with it again. But I'm telling you now, if we play like that against Serbia, against Slovenia and against Denmark, we'll struggle to get out the group. We really will. We can't play with that level of patience when you've got that quality of player. And I know people are going to be sitting at home going, oh, well, Saka wasn't playing, Foden wasn't playing, Bellingham wasn't playing, Kane didn't start, Mainu wasn't playing, Rice wasn't playing, Shaw wasn't playing. It doesn't matter. That's how he wants to play. Look who was playing. Eze was playing. Palmer was playing. Bowen was playing. These are all creative players that have been instructed to be patient and wait for the opposition to make mistakes rather than take the risks that they do for their club side to actually cut these teams open. These are world-class players, some of them. They have that ability. You saw it on that one run from Eze. If you give these players the license to express themselves, they can express themselves. He is stifling them at every single turn. And it doesn't matter if you take all those players out and put all those first-team players in. That mindset is not going to change because that is the Southgate and Steve Holland mindset. Patience, wait for our chances, play for set plays, make sure we're safe at the back, and we'll win these football matches. It might get us through the group. It might, because our players are that good. We have solid enough defenders to keep out those other teams. But it's going to be a hell of a slog to watch. And I'm going to be absolutely nervous as all hell that if we make that one mistake in possession, and we gave the ball away a fair few times tonight, Conor Gallagher probably the most culpable for that. If we're giving away the ball in the midfield and they get a run at our defence while we're asleep, we could be in big trouble. I am not happy with that performance tonight. I am not happy with the attitude of the players tonight. And I only mean that in regards to the fact that they're following the manager's orders. The fact that they're not allowed to express themselves. That's what I mean about their attitude. They should take it upon themselves to be more expressive. They weren't. So I'm disappointed in that regard. And look, we've won 3-0. So, in a win-loss world, I'll take it. But huge red flags again for me tonight. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I am obviously happy but sad at the same time. Really tough to know what to say after games like that, where we've been awful but still won 3-0. So we'll see how we do against Iceland. They're probably going to offer pretty much the exact same sort of approach. They're going to sit in, they're going to be physical, and, you know, we'll put in some other players, I'm sure, for the other game. Maybe we'll see Saka come back, likes of Foden, and a couple of the Man United players may be available as well. But we'll see, because I can tell you, the pattern of play, unless there is a mindset change from Southgate or Steve Holland, the style of play, even with the first teamers back in, is going to be no difference against Iceland. It's going to be no difference against Serbia when it comes to the tournament next week. But thank you very much for watching as always. I'll catch you in the next one.